On the night of March 19th, two things happened in the city of Halcyon. At 9:47 p.m., Dr. Marcus Vale, one of the most celebrated neurosurgeons in the country, was found dead in his private office on the 14th floor of the Halcyon Medical Institute. Door locked from inside. No signs of struggle. A handwritten suicide note on his desk. A single empty glass of whiskey beside it. The police called it a suicide within the hour. At 9:52 p.m., 5 minutes later and 4 kilometers across the city, the entire server room of Halcyon General Hospital went dark. Every backup drive, every firewall, every security protocol wiped clean in under 90 seconds. Gone with it. 10 years of proprietary neurological research data. A medical breakthrough worth an estimated $400 million on the global pharmaceutical market. The police treated them as two completely separate incidents. One dead doctor, one corporate data theft, two different teams, two different investigations, zero connection. Mysteria was called in only for the suicide because the lead investigator had a feeling he could not explain. She arrived at the Halcyon Medical Institute at midnight, black coffee in hand, notebook under her arm. She looked at the suicide note for 11 seconds. Then she looked up. "This man is not dead," she said. The room went completely silent. Dr. Marcus Vale was 52 years old, neurosurgeon of the decade, 3 consecutive years running. His research into neurological regeneration had been described by peers as the most significant medical advancement in 30 years. He ran his own private practice, held a senior position at the Halcyon Medical Institute, and had recently filed patents for a breakthrough procedure that his colleagues described as career-defining. By every measure, a man at the absolute peak of his life. The suicide note said he was tired, that the pressure had become unbearable, that he was sorry. Officer Dewan had read it 4 times and found it completely convincing. Mysteria had read it once. "The note is wrong," she said. "Wrong how?" "It is his handwriting. We confirmed it." "It is his handwriting," she said. "But look at the last line. He signs it. Marcus, not Mark." His assistant told us everyone who knew him personally called him Mark. Nobody who actually knew this man would sign a personal note with his full name. He wrote this deliberately, clinically, like a document, not like a goodbye. She set the note down and walked to the window. The office was on the 14th floor. The window was locked from inside. The door had been locked from inside. The only key was found in Dr. Vale's jacket pocket. "How does a man lock himself inside a room?" Dewan asked. "And then not be dead?" Mysteria looked at the door lock carefully. Then she crouched and looked at the gap beneath the door. "The same way a magician makes something disappear," she said. "By making sure everyone is looking at exactly the right place." While Dewan managed the scene, Mysteria read every file connected to Dr. Marcus Vale in under an hour. 3 names kept appearing. First, Dr. Lena Frost, 44, Vale's research partner for 8 years. Their professional relationship had fractured 6 months ago over a dispute about patent ownership. Lena believed the breakthrough research was equally hers. Vale had filed the patents solely under his own name. She had launched a legal challenge 3 weeks prior, a challenge that, if successful, would have given her half of everything. Second, John Peter, 31, a data systems engineer who had designed and maintained the server infrastructure at Halcyon General Hospital for 4 years. He had been suspended 2 months ago, officially for a minor protocol breach. His colleagues said the real reason was that he had discovered something in the hospital's financial records he was not supposed to see. Third, Nina Vale, 48. Marcus Vale's wife of 19 years. She had filed for divorce 8 months ago. The settlement proceedings were ongoing. Under the terms of their prenuptial agreement, if Marcus died before the divorce was finalized, she inherited everything. If the divorce completed first, she received significantly less. 3 people with 3 very different reasons to want Marcus Vale either dead or gone. Mysteria set the files down. Then she picked up her phone and called the investigator handling the data theft across town. "Tell me exactly what was taken," she said. The answer stopped her mid-step. Every single file stolen from Halcyon General's server was Dr. Marcus Vale's research data. Mysteria stood in the server room of Halcyon General Hospital at 2 in the morning. Dion watched her from the doorway. "You really think these 2 cases are connected?" "I think." "They are the same case," she said. She examined the server room entry log. The breach had been executed using a valid employee access code, John Peters' code, to be precise. But John Peter had been suspended. His access should have been revoked the day he was let go. It had not been revoked. That was not an oversight. That was deliberate. Someone had kept John Peters' access code active and available, knowing exactly when to use it. She walked to the corner of the server room where the primary backup drive had been removed. A clean extraction. No damage, no forced entry, no wasted movement. Whoever did this knew the exact location of every drive. They had been here before. Or someone had told them precisely where to look. On the floor near the extraction point, a small rectangular indentation in the dust. Mysteria photographed it. The shape was specific. The size was specific. She had seen that shape before. Upstairs, on Dr. Marcus Vale's desk, there had been a rectangular, clean patch in the dust. The same dimensions. Something that had sat on that desk for a long time had been removed very recently. A portable hard drive. Vale had copied his own research before the staged suicide. Then, the server theft had wiped the original institutional copies. In the world, only one complete copy of the research data now existed. Wherever Marcus Vale was, he had it. Mysteria went back to the office and looked at the body. "Forensics confirmed identity," Dewan said. "Fingerprints match. Dental records match." "How old are those dental records?" Dewan paused. "On file since 2019. Run them against records from this year." His assistant mentioned he had dental work done 3 months ago, a full restoration after an accident. New records? New baseline? The forensics team looked at each other. "Also," Mysteria continued, "run a full identity check on every patient Marcus Vale operated on in the last 6 months. Specifically, anyone who had no immediate family, anyone who died on table, anyone whose body was released to a private service before family confirmation." The result came back in 40 minutes. 6 weeks earlier, a patient named Harold Gray. No family, no next of kin listed, died during a complex neurological procedure. Body released to a private service within 24 hours. Harold Gray had never been cremated, because Harold Gray had never existed. The body in Dr. Marcus Vale's office was a man who, on paper, was already dead. A constructed identity. A ghost patient created by the most skilled neurological surgeon in the country. A man who understood bodies, records, and hospital systems better than anyone alive. Mysteria called Dewan with 3 words. "Find the wife." Not because Nina Vale was the culprit, because Nina Vale was the only person in the world Marcus trusted enough to tell. She was found at a private terminal 40 minutes later. One bag packed, one ticket booked, one destination that had no extradition agreement with the country. She broke within minutes of sitting across from Mysteria. Marcus had planned it for 14 months. The divorce had terrified him, not emotionally, but financially. The legal challenge from Lena Frost terrified him more. Between the two, he stood to lose the patents, the research, the money, and the legacy he had spent his entire career building. So he built an exit. He created Harold Gray, a fictional patient with fabricated records, and when the time came, used a body sourced through connections Mysteria would spend weeks untangling. He planted his own dental records on file before getting new ones, knowing forensics would match the old records to the body and never question it. He kept John Peters' access code deliberately active. A man with a grievance, a visible motive, a perfect person to silently frame for the server theft. He stole his own research. He wrote a suicide note clinical enough to close the case but containing one deliberate flaw, his full name that he believed only Nina would notice. A signal. A goodbye. By the time the city buried Marcus Vale, he would be somewhere without an extradition treaty, $400 million of pharmaceutical data in his hands, and a new identity already prepared. Lena Frost would be investigated for his murder. John Peter would be charged for the data theft. Nina would collect the inheritance. 3 innocent people destroyed. 1 guilty man completely free. Marcus Vale was intercepted at a private border crossing 11 hours later. The portable hard drive was recovered. Lena Frost and John Peter were formally cleared. Officer Dewan sat in the car outside the detention center and said nothing for a long moment. He planned for everything. He finally said, dental records, a ghost patient, a planted access code, 14 months of preparation. How do you walk into a room at midnight and know in 11 seconds that something is wrong? The note, Mysteria said simply. A man who spends 14 months planning his own disappearance thinks of everything, except how he actually signs his own name when nobody is watching. She looked out the window. People can fake their death. They cannot fake themselves. She stepped out of the car. Notebook, coffee. The city still dark around her. On her phone, a new message. No name, no number. 3 words. I know you. She stared at it for a moment. Then she wrote it down. The Marcus Vale case would go on to be cited as the most elaborately constructed false death in the history of Halcyon City. 14 months of planning. $400 million at stake. 3 innocent people nearly destroyed. Unraveled in one night by one agent who noticed a man signed his suicide note like a stranger. Agent Mysteria. Case 2. Closed. But someone out there just sent her 3 words. And case 3 is no longer just a case. It is personal.